We finished 9th in Bahrain and 10th in Saudi Arabia with Haas. Hopefully that's not a trend that continues in Australia that sees us finishing 11th. Hello folks, and welcome to episode number 3 of this career mode with Haas, where we can only use Formula 2 and GP2 champions as our drivers. We're gearing up for the Australian Grand Prix. We've got Nico Hülkenberg and Felipe Drugovich in our team, ready to score some more points in the Melbourne race today. Nico Hülkenberg has scored 3 points so far this season with that 9th and 10th place finish that I mentioned in the intro. Felipe finished in 12th, I think, in Jeddah, which is his obviously his best finish so far. Yet to score a point though, but he is just behind Lando Norris in the Drivers' Championship and ahead of Alex Albon and Yuki Tsunoda. So he's doing reasonably well so far. We're level on points with Alpine in the Constructors' Championship, but because they've got, I think, 2 11th place finishes, they're above us on countback. And regarding the car, let's have a look at how things are playing out. We're still designing a few bits and pieces, and I'll come to the reason why for that in a moment. We are also manufacturing a new chassis, but we're not going to put that on today, even though there is one part available which we could give to the Hulk in Australia, but we're not going to. We're just going to run with what we've got, and then we're going to put a package together for Baku. But if I go to the inbox, I'll explain to you why we haven't got as many parts in manufacture as we might well have done. So the team came to me and said we had a wind tunnel data concern. The data output seems this is the resolution of it. So there was no issue found. Well, there was an issue found in the end. So here we go. They were concerned about some irregularities in the wind tunnel. I had to approve an investigation. So the wind tunnel was shut down. Design projects were paused. Problem could have got worse if I hadn't, and that would have affected the car's performance on the track, of course. So they did indeed discover a fault that could have escalated over time, and that would not have done our chances any good. But that's now been resolved, and we can get back to business with designing car parts and making the Haas car faster so we can finish ahead of Alpine, because that's our target, I think, now this season, is to make sure we finish ahead of Alpine. It's not going to be easy, but we like a challenge. Today in Australia could be quite tricky because the Alpine is fairly good in high speed. I mean, we're 12th. I think if we look at Alpine, they're 9th, so they're just a little bit faster than us. They should have the edge, but we're going to give it our best shot, and that starts by doing good practice, getting the car set up right, and qualifying well. So I'm going to go and do that, and I'll see you in qualifying. Less than 4 minutes remain in Q1, and we are in a little bit of bother with Felipe Drugovich. He's P17. He's done 2 flying laps as well. He didn't really do a very good first lap, and his second lap, I think he got a bit of traffic in the middle sector, but he did do it on used tyres. So even though he improved his time, there's still more to come. What we're going to do is send him out behind this Red Bull of Perez. Eventually, we're actually going to be behind a Mercedes, so that's maybe not too bad. The Red Bull might actually get away from us. The Mercedes, perhaps not so much. Let's see how Felipe's lap unfolds. Not an improvement in Sector 1 for Felipe. This is not going well for the Brazilian. This could be our first Q1 elimination, although he's just done the fastest middle sector of anyone, just to be beaten by, I think it's one of the Ferraris behind. But this is coming together nicely, actually. If that middle sector has done enough damage, we should be able to usurp Tsunoda and Norris. Hopefully get ahead of Sargent as well. Here comes Drugovich. He goes 12th. Excellent from him. He's actually ahead of Ocon in the Alpine, so that is good to see. We are in the drop zone then as Q2 enters its final few minutes. There's still some drivers coming in from some hot laps, but we are going to be heading out in a moment. There goes the McLaren of Lando Norris. We did our first runs on used tyres, and we're going to follow this Alpine out onto the track, hopefully getting a bit of a slipstream coming towards the end of the first sector then, following Felipe Drugovich. It's not an improvement. I think the Alpine is a little bit too far up the road to be giving us a tow. Talking of Alpine, Ocon is now P10 and ahead of us. Not an improvement from Drugovich. There's some traffic there potentially. Has it got in the way of Hulkenberg? Has Hulkenberg just been blocked? Are we going to be out in Q2 here with both cars? Drugovich is not improving. He needs a mighty final sector. He hasn't found it. And Hulkenberg stays 12th as well. He got blocked in the final sector. So that's our qualifying done. We'll start at best 11th and 12th for the Australian Grand Prix. And so it is 11th and 12th. A double Q2 elimination. Although, considering the car analysis screen that we looked at earlier, this probably isn't too much of a surprise. All sorted then with our strategy. It's basically the same but in reverse for each driver. So soft, soft, medium for Felipe Drugovich. Medium, soft, soft for Nico Hulkenberg. Sometimes the AI tries to do a one-stop soft to medium, which is possible, but it leaves you really tight on your tyre wear. I don't think we'll be attacking or being aggressive, at least on the tyres for Hulkenberg here. All the way to the end, we'll probably have to settle at some point for a position, but they'll probably get too hot if we keep attacking on them. So we'll probably manage the tyre throughout the stint. Not under fueling because we're going to be pushing. So let's get to the grid and do a motor race. Green flag at the back and Albert Park is ready to race. 5 red lights, the lights are out. The race is on. They were not held for very long at all. And we are underway in, well, down under, I suppose.
Okay,
and we are actually side by side right now. Here we go. Don't crash into each other, lads. That is not a good idea. So actually, we don't really want Hulkenberg in front because he's on the slower tyre. So we'll fix this at some point later on. Ocon and Hamilton are just up ahead. Gasly is in P10. So as long as we can stay with the Alpines, we could potentially nick a position off them. Look at the symmetry here. Softs, and then you've got a whole group of mediums, and then softs to the back of the grid. I think Felipe Drugovich is about to lose a position to Albon. He has indeed lost that P12 to the Thai driver. That's not what we were looking for. Hulkenberg, though, has got past Pierre Gasly. That's what we were hoping for. So we lose with one driver, we regain with the other, and it's not going to show us a replay. Sadly, we won't be able to see that overtake by Hulkenberg, but we do need to get him to DRS range of the Mercedes. But I think that's going to be easier said than done. We've just lost half a second to the Merc through the final sector. Drugovich is back in front of Albon, so we might just be scrapping over this P10, and we've potentially got 2 cars who could grab it. So here are Hulkenberg and Gasly. They've been pretty much like this for the last 7 or 8 laps. Not really changing position. Slowly dropping back from Hamilton. The gap's now 3 seconds, and also pulling away from Drugovich, who's been battling Albon. We do need to deploy this battery that we've got available to us and try and get away from the Williams. See if we can do it in this final sector, but DRS is basically half this circuit now. Although we have got away. I don't think... Yeah, we didn't quite get away enough. Albon does have DRS in the background. It's going to be strategy that gets us away from this Williams, but I don't think Drugovich has got quite enough pace to keep up with these two. So it is a straight head-to-head. Can we beat Gasly to P10? It's going to be very tricky because we're going to be 2-stopping, and I would think, based on the tyre wear, he's going to be 1-stopping. So we might need to do some sort of comeback drive to pick up this final point. We have just lost the position to Gasly with Hulkenberg. We've just approached the pit stop window for Drugovich. There's Gasly. Nice move down the inside, actually, with DRS, and makes it stick, which is frustrating. And it looks like he might be clearing off. So we're going to have to deploy and respond to this pace from the Frenchman. Drugovich is on his way to the pit lane. Has he dropped Albon? Not quite. But there are other drivers in the pit lane. So maybe the AI is going for a 2-stop here, which could be interesting. We've committed to the 2-stop as well. There's no way we're making these mediums go on a 1-stop. In comes Felipe Drugovich. 2.9 second stop. That'll do nicely enough. And he'll come out behind Valtteri Bottas. Hulkenberg now up to P7 because he hasn't stopped yet. So this soft back end of the race for Hulk could prove quite fruitful. But I would assume Gasly's on something rather similar. We've got a virtual safety car. Someone has crashed. It's not Drugovich, is it? It's not. This is not helpful. It's actually Piastri crashing out of his home race. Has he had contact with the Williams? No, he's just going to spin on the exit of the chicane and slide down the barriers, making a mess of that lovely McLaren livery, which you can see more of on the McLaren with no upgrades live streams. Well, no upgrades at least until Austria. So, VSC, these last actually a fair while in F1 Manager. So what I'm going to do is bring Hulkenberg in this lap to change tyres. I would assume Gasly would do the same. Let's find out. Does Gasly do the same? He does not. We're going to get a free pit stop here at Haas. Lovely jubbly. Into the box. Hulkenberg comes. And he might even be ahead of a few rivals here. He'll be just behind Lando Norris. The virtual safety car might have worked out nicely for Hulkenberg. We'll wait and see on that one, but it's certainly not helped Felipe Drugovich. He's now 4 seconds behind Alex Albon, who did get a free pit stop while the virtual safety car was out. And Gasly has now just come in. That is absolutely absurd strategy play from the Alpine team. What are they putting him on? Where is he? There he is. He's gone on to another set of mediums. So he's two-stopping. We need to get Hulkenberg going past this McLaren. Gasly's going to come out in traffic. He's actually going to come out just in front. He's actually going to come out... Oh, sorry. I thought it was behind Drugovich there for a second. No, ignore me. Hulkenberg moves up to P10. He's fighting away with Lando Norris. And for the second time in this race, we've missed a Hulkenberg overtake into turn 3. But we are going to get a replay this time. Here we go. Nico Hulkenberg. Oh, the late dart and right round the outside. Love that. Come on. Great move. We're currently in P10 with Nico Hulkenberg as we start lap 28. We're actually closing up on George Russell. More than half a second a lap last time around. He is on a set of mediums and we've got a whole wide range of tyre strategies going on here. Let's just take a moment to observe this. We're one of 3 drivers on softs, one of 2 teams, because obviously both our drivers are on soft tyres right now. Everyone's on varying ages of mediums. Stroll is now into the pit lane. So the VSC, I think, came at a time just in between all the AI strategies. And perhaps us and Albon were the only ones to really benefit from it. It's not George Russell we're catching anymore. It's now Esteban Ocon as Lewis Hamilton goes into the pit lane. We are, wow, nearly 2 seconds a lap faster than Ocon, who is on dead tyres. And we are not far away from our pit stop, so we could potentially undercut the Frenchman, but I am sure that Alpine will bring him in on this lap. So unless he dives for the pit lane, he does dive for the pit lane, does Ocon, as predicted. So what's he going to go on to? Sure, yeah, it's a set of softs. Pit stop time for Nico Hulkenberg. Another set of fresh soft tyres going on. 2.7 second stop. Where is Ocon? Here comes the Frenchman. Where are we? We're going to be a little bit behind. Gasly's up the road as well, and he hasn't stopped yet. He definitely started on mediums. Tyre history. Pierre Gasly. Yes, you must come into the pit lane, my friend, and pick up a set of tyres that are not mediums. Right, Hulkenberg, let's see if we can crack on and get you up to the back of Ocon as Drugovich battles with Bottas. Here we go, DRS, and Drugovich sending it down the inside. Beautiful stuff. Lovely move from the Brazilian. Hopefully we can pull away from Bottas now. Gasly's just gone into the pit lane, and now it leaves us with a head-to-head against Ocon. But he is pulled away a little bit up the road. So we're going to need to push. Another position gained for Felipe Drugovich. Lando Norris, whoa! Almost wiped us out. I didn't expect to overtake through the penultimate corner, but we've gained a position because Norris has gone off track. That'll do. Hulkenberg still P10, but he's dropped to 3 seconds behind Ocon. So what I'm going to do is just look after the tyres a little bit, make sure we've got some fuel in hand, and hopefully Ocon's tyres fall apart a little bit and we'll be able to catch him. Gasly, having earlier been our competition for P10, is now some 16.5 seconds behind. Norris has just re-overtaken Drugovich, who's sending a wheel at the high-speed right-hander into the middle sector, and we are wheel to wheel with the McLaren. Let's watch this through the chicane. This could be scary. Round the outside, Drugovich with the biggest of ballsy moves. There we go. Who's got DRS? We have, so we will have the position. Let's push the engine and deploy the battery, see if we can escape the clutches of the McLaren. We are currently 9th. George Russell has just gone into the pit lane with 8 laps to go to put on a set of softs. He's going to come back past us, but hopefully he catches Ocon and slows him down towards the end. So what I'm going to get Hulkenberg to do is actually rarely defend so that Russell essentially just goes straight past. Let's see it in action. We'll get it to the pit straight. Here we go. Russell can just go straight past here. There's no point fighting the Mercedes and potentially having an accident. So there we go. Hulkenberg, we've got a yellow flag. Who's gone off? Oh, it was Drugovich. But he's held position, which is okay, so it can't have been that bad. He's clearly just seen what Norris did and decided to do the same. Yeah, but it wasn't as dramatic because there wasn't a car about to overtake him. Charles Leclerc has just snatched the lead of this race on the final lap. I'll leave that in the edit, by the way, and I'll try and slow it down because it was on time 16 speed. But Leclerc has just nicked this win off of Verstappen. And he's going to win the Australian Grand Prix. There you go. Charles Leclerc does the business for Ferrari. Nico Hulkenberg is doing the business for Haas. He's going to finish 10th. Drugovich finishes 13th, the first of the lapped drivers, but it's going to be a third race in a row where Haas score points. I'm not too familiar with Haas's point scoring records in terms of how many consecutive races in a row they've scored points, but 3 must be up there with one of their best runs. 9th, 10th and 10th. Lovely stuff. And Gasly still yet to score a point in his new team. And there's your result, the top 10. It's Ferrari, Red Bull. Fernando Alonso getting his Aston Martin into P4. Mercedes having a rubbish day because the W14 at the start of this save is rubbish. And there we are, just off the back of the Alpine of Ocon and ahead of Gasly by 10.5 seconds. That stop under the VSC completely made our race. It put us well ahead of Gasly and it put us in the fight with Ocon. I'm really pleased with that. That has paid off massive dividends. Drugovich, there was the error, but he still had a reasonably good race. He's still only in his 3rd Grand Prix, for crying out loud. We mustn't be too harsh on him. But yeah, overall, a very good performance from the team. If you enjoyed that race, make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on the video for me. Make sure you check out the McLaren with no upgrades live streams. I will be live this Sunday in the evening. I'll let you know on the community page what time we're going live. Also, check out my thoughts on the F1 Manager 24 game being announced with Create a Team. I'll leave a link to that somewhere over here later on at the end of this video. Subscribe for more F1 Manager 23 content and make sure you subscribe so you're ready for F1 Manager 24. All the best, fans.